Welcome back to my channel. Gonna give a layout tour and description of some stuff here. So, call this layout the Konway and Hoosier River. If anybody knows my real last name, it has a con in it, and I'm a big Pennsylvania Road homer, and Conway Yard was a place in the Pennsylvania days. And so I just changed the name a little. And the Hoosier River comes from our dog, Hoosier. She's an Aussie Border Collie. And that's where the name came from. Okay, so I do want to correct myself here. Conway Yard is still a place that exists, I guess, on Norfolk Southern. It's Western Pennsylvania. So I'll start off by this board. It's a board that keeps track of things I want to do on the layout, things I want to order, things in my mind that I need or want, we'll go with. There's some railroad photography I've done in the past when I had time. And here's a cool sign from Long Island. I have a friend who worked for the municipality and said, "Got the perfect sign for your layout." And now to the layout. The layout is overall 24 by about 14 feet wide. This section here is the extra 4 feet. The main line runs a 20-foot part of the layout. It's a 3-track main, which I just recently created the inside loop as a complete loop. Originally, it was a staging track for trains exiting and entering the yard, and it still could be used for that. You just have to position the train on that track out of the way or stop at a signal like the real railroad would. It's just nice to have 3 trains running. That's one of the reasons why I did complete that loop. This way, if I want to just run trains, it's, you know, it's another train running, and it still can serve as its original intended purpose. The theme of the layout is Western Pennsylvania early Conrail days, which could be from 76 to, I mean, up to 80 probably. If I see something I like and it has a date higher than 78, or I'll get it. Not a big deal. As you can see, we use ESU cab control DCC. Excellent system for a person new to DCC. Haven't had any issues with it yet. If you do get one and you don't have the numbers on your F keys and just the icons, you do need to update the software, and that will solve that problem. I've seen that posted a lot. It did drive me crazy till I figured it out. So there's a tip on that one. Coming from O scale, which we still have, and I will get back to that layout more. The DCC system is such a great thing for HO scale. Like, there's people at Lionel only, you can't buy MTH stuff, and vice versa. Really makes no sense for O scale. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day that we're not going to get into. The layout is a open grid construction. The main line is built on 3/4 plywood on risers. The lower line is built pretty similar, which is the branch line, which runs underneath the layout here, underneath the town, and comes out at those bridges. Give a tour of the town. Another thing I'm doing, I know this might not be 100% to the prototype that ever happened, but I'm doing freelance, early Conrail, adding some fun. I like keeping the colors of the former railroads that all became Conrail on. It's just kind of a fun little aspect. As you've seen in some of my last videos, my RS3 is Pensy paint with Conrail patches over it. Yeah, it might not have been real, but it's just fun. You know, it's something I like to do. Everybody has a different way of modeling, and I'm keeping it the way I feel I like. Here's our town. Still need to paint the road, do a crossing. I'm going to look into getting crossing gates. I guess Walthers makes some. Anybody in the comments can give me an opinion on the best crossing system to use. Here I use the Walthers road and street kit. And then this is going to transition to joint compound roads. I want to say these Virginia hopper cars and that Penn Central boxcar were weathered by my good buddy John Marshall. He's big into the D&H on his O-scale layout. Make some awesome weathering tips. Taught me a lot of myself. You can find him on quite a few Facebook groups for Yo Scout guys with his awesome weathering. These Walthers buildings are all the flat buildings back here. I must say they're really neat buildings. It's great for making realistic scenes and not sucking up the space. And they're great against the wall, as you can tell. Here we have a Walthers coal plant, or power plant, I should say. This is where the coal loads from the coal mine will get delivered for the power plant. That's simple. This depot is just out of place because I was working on the layout. This is a truck repair place. We've got the transfer dock. Another transfer building. Up here, we're have a church kit. And I'm going to have a cemetery up there. This is going to be a road once I get everything leveled out and a little more realistic. Not a big concern, but I will get back to working on the road in this section up here. I do need to get the paint out and base coat the foam there. The latest work I've done in the layout is completing all the scenic and stonework over here. This Scenic Express foliage, I really like their stuff over Woodland. Got to put in an order and get some more material. They have good prices for the amount of material you get. Their shipping's pretty fast. Unfortunately, they moved to Colorado instead of Pennsylvania, but they still do ship pretty quick to me here in New Jersey. All my bridges are Walthers kits. The water I use an acrylic medium, actually. Just easy to work with, and you can go back and clean it up, which I need to do in the future in case you don't like a spot. Like, I have some goofy spots that I need to get fixed, but it doesn't smell, and it does take a long time to dry, and just make sure you're not putting on too thick. In this corner here, I have another box of super trees, which will be going up that wall. Right here, I showed this on a previous video. This is just Sculpt-A-Mold with some paint washes done through it. I am planning to paint all of my track. This is stuff I painted before I put down the third loop completion, which I should have painted all my track before I even laid it, but you live and you learn. More super trees. There's the coal mine. Look at, once again, the coal mine runs here over the lower bridges underneath the town, and it comes back into the main line outside of the yard, which we can show you when I go that direction. Anybody's wondering what's going on here, I had to have a switch covered here, unfortunately, which I don't like doing. I have a switch motor to install right there. I'm going to make something that I can reach in and move. Not a big deal, but that will get covered eventually. I'd use WWS static grass. It's some really good stuff. Anybody's thinking about static grass. Barnes Railroad Products is where I get my ballasts from. Michael Barnes, you can find him on Facebook. Very good modeler. Make some cool products for your layout. This section here, see, I don't have my wall up, and this stuff in the background is driving me crazy. This is all Sculpt-A-Mold and Woodland Scenics rock molds. The structure of the Sculpt-A-Mold allows you to let it dry for maybe 5 minutes and then stick it against the wall on the curve, and it doesn't deteriorate. Here is freehand Sculpt-A-Mold. Same with this side, more of a rough texture. Up here is going to be a little town that would once have been a company town. I don't know if company towns and houses were a thing in the late 70s, but it's what it's going to resemble that it once was, and more modernized as well. I have another kit that's going to go up here. I'll probably buy some more buildings for up here, and we will have a not so realistic road that comes down here to the mine for all the workers, but it's just a road. I've been to places where there's some pretty bizarre grades, so I'm trying to keep the grade to the minimum. It's not like I'm running a train up there, so we'll be okay. This section right here will be a dock where we will have a coal barge taking coal loads from the coal mine. I'll probably have hopper cars with chutes to the barge coming down here. This back wall here and most of my scenic areas are cardboard with the plaster cloth over top of it, paint it flat brown, and then you apply your scenic material. What's great about that, you can use an awl and poke a little hole in, get some of your glue, and stick your trees right in. No mess, no drilling holes. And of course, use the gap filling glue, they call it. Scenic Express recommends with their tree kit. I still want to redo this building back here. I have a spot over here that I'm not 100% sure with what I'm going to do. It's in the works. As I said in previous videos, my main focus is this whole area. Is what I really want to get detailed and my track painted and all that stuff. Also work on the mine area some more. My goal is to have a lot of this area filled in and all the land formed and everything by March, April. We'll see what happens. I do have more super trees to build that are sitting in the box right now. I got to touch up back there. Just not sure where I'm going to transition the end there. Maybe have a road coming out of town. Right here on this edge, I'm going to build a wall, like a permanent wall, that would take your eyes away from the other side of the layout. So as a train's coming across my duck under here, it would appear that it's coming from another town and distant, and give you the idea that the other side of the layout is a farther away place than the miners' town and the mountain range over here. That's probably going to be at the end of the year once I'm done doing this whole area. I just feel like it'll give you a more of a effect of not space but distance. So the train will be coming through a wall here, which will be a obviously a fake tunnel, and give you the idea of you can't see the other side of the layout from this corner when we're filming or running trains. If I don't like it, I'll take it down, but I'm a big fan of keeping your eye on the layout and not outside of it. And I feel like a wall could really capture this whole scene. And when you see a train coming, you wouldn't see any of the other parts of the layout. We'll try that. We'll definitely do a video on that. Here's a Cato RS3 I picked up at a train show for dirt cheap, and it came with a decoder. Just needed some work, and works great. I'll give you a little view, and we'll go to the other side. I will tell you, I do have lots of touch-up work to do underneath my walls and everything, but that's like anything else. These stone walls, the block wall, I made a post. If you hit my channel and look at post or community, I believe, I have a link to where these walls came from. I have a mold and I poured them myself with hydrocell. So we're on the other side of the duck under. And don't mind my mess. There's a workshop. Anybody in the beginning stages of building a layout, if you have your whole basement that's going to be for trains, make sure you give yourself a lot of workspace for a workshop. My father and I at his house, the O-scale layout takes up the entire basement, and there's not a lot of workspace down there. But O-scale's so large, and it is what it is. But having this workshop here is a monster benefit. We're going to get into detail in another video about tools and things I think you should use for building kits, tools that are great for getting started. All that kind of fun stuff will be another video. But once again, I drew my layout on SCARM. Really great program. And I drew my basement floor on there, including my pillars, this wall here, my HVAC stuff. And I drew a workspace into my plan. And my layout obviously was in the plan. And therefore, I didn't build the layout too big that I can't reach anything. And I allowed myself a workspace. And here's a dummy Bachmann Spectrum. I lost the front rails somehow, but this is the model. I added some decals too. The number is an actual number for a prototype. Here is the ramp track that comes off of the main line, just around the yard area, that runs down to the branch line, which goes underneath the town to the coal mine, as you've seen previously. Over here, this is air drying clay that I did in here. I have to repaint that section. One of my engines was dragging the snow plow on there, so I'll have to repaint and fix that. Nothing crazy. The yard's pretty sophisticated. All my tracks can run through the yard with ease with a flip of a switch. A train can easily be parked and disassembled. The only rule is I do have to shut down the inside loop, and I can build an entire train using the yard in the inside loop, or disassemble an entire train into the yard using that loop, which was the original intention, but I made it a complete loop for if I just want to sit and relax and see 3 trains running. No big deal if I can't run that while I'm building a train. So we can run from the industrial track to the yard, the main line to the branch line, then the branch line coal loads will go into the yard, then onto the industrial track where this train's coming out of now, which goes through town. Like I said, everything was designed with prototype operations on my layout. Once I get a lot more done and everything's set in place for industries, it'll be a good layout to have a second operator and operate some prototype moves and stuff of that sort. Here's a Proto2000 Dummy I picked up for $20. Conrail really did not have these, but for $20 you can't beat it. And like I said, I'm not going crazy to the prototype. And then here's a Walthers Proto Series Erie unit, Jeep 7, I believe, or 9. I always mix them up. That is really great sound, features, super smooth runner. I'm a huge fan of the Atlas Gold Series with Look Sound 5. Never one issue. They're excellent pullers. Here's an X-Pen Central unit. It has some weathering on it. I'm still working on that part. There's my CR decal. I'd like to change the numbers, but I don't really know if I have the patience to do the number boards, and that's why I haven't changed the numbers to the exact Conrail prototype numbers. I'll just put that out there. Here's the SD40 Atherin Ready to Run series. It's $170 from Train World. The thing has 2 speakers in it. It has Tsunami, I think a Tsunami chip in it. The thing sounds incredible. 2 speakers, $170, couldn't go wrong. I love SD40s. Great runner. Recently picked up some more coal cars from a show. They all will get weathered over time. Once again, that's one of my last things is once my layout is pretty scenery complete, I will start weathering cars and weathering locomotives. Here's a Walthers mainline engine. That was a New Haven unit. Obviously, we painted over the logo. Oddly enough, I did come across the picture of a model, or not a model, a real locomotive that was shedding its black paint from the paint over of Penn Central and showing a lot of orange on the cab. There was a spot where they didn't even paint the door. So this actually could have been a prototype at one point on the Conrail once all the paint wore from the cab. But like I said, I'm just doing loosely based. Here's two Bowser Alco C630s. Excellent pullers. I pulled like 15, 20 foot long cold drag with these units. They have Tsunami, I think, in them. I got a really good deal on them from Joey at Nicholas Smith. So they're great coal. I usually use them just to pull long coal drags for now. I do plan to buy a lot more locomotives, and I need to fill out more of the roster of colorful Conrail. I need some Lehigh Valley power, I think. I'm missing a few, but I do have stuff like this. This is the master roster for Conrail. Gives you the numbers, everything, where the units came from. And then just some cool railroad stuff I got up here. If there's any questions, comments, anything you'd like to know, feel free to ask. I try to reply pretty quick when I'm not busy with work or many other things. Also, I forgot to mention, this back wall here is probably going to be all building flats. I might, if I find some more buildings that can come out to the track, I will do that, but I'll still have building flats on the wall. I think I'm going to build a flat to hide these pillars as well. As I mentioned in a previous video, how I feel about hiding pillars and blending and stuff that's not the layout. Just once again, everything takes time. And one thing at a time. Here's a New Haven caboose that I did. These Pensy cabooses and the Conrail cabooses are Bowsers. They are really nice models for, I think, around $24. They just did a bunch of the Pensy style cabooses. I bought probably 6 of them already. And I'm like, once again, I like doing the patchwork. It's a nice touch. I know there's a bunch of other people I've seen on Facebook groups who are doing similar work as well. But for now, this is what era I'm going to stick to. And once I feel I have a complete roster, I'm satisfied. In years to come, maybe I'll do some modern stuff. I really do like the scale trains, modern units. They're just, the details is absolutely incredible. And I do like the SD40s they're doing. And since this is Western PA in the 70s, I feel like I could have some chassis system run-through trains or detour trains. So I'll probably get a pair of SD40s and chassis at one point in time too, which I do really like those colors. It's just time and working on the layout instead of keep buying trains. Like a lot of people seem to love buying tons of trains and then you never work on the layout, but I like trying to be the opposite. I guess I've talked enough for this video, but I figured I'd give everybody some detailed information about the layout since so many new subscribers are on. I want to thank everybody for the positive comments, subscribing, viewing the videos, and coming back for more. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope everybody gets through winter and can enjoy more than just being in their basement.